if you haven't seen it, it's one of those classics that don't get mentioned a lot and should be mentioned more. One of the great urban films. And Brian asked the question, did Tony just say good and Jim Belushi in the same sentence?
Again, I could name 7 good Jim Belushi movies. You probably haven't seen them, but
Red Heat?
you'd have to see them and then sit next to me while we watch them. And then when the movie ends, with a straight face, look at me and go, that movie sucked. And then I'd be like, okay, man, explain to me how. But
you know what Jim Belushi movie I like a lot?
and you're talking to the biggest John Belushi fan and a guy who used to rip Jim Belushi 24/7 until I was like, you know what? He ain't as bad as Mel Gibson, Stallone, John Voight. Like, if you really follow him, he has done some pretty good things lately.
So my favorite Jim Belushi film, besides Jingle All the Way, when he plays Santa.
Curly Sue, we're not talking.
No. My favorite Jim Belushi film is actually Mr. Wonderful.
It's not a bad movie.
But the reason that he gets such a bad rep is because it's not just nepotism of him being the brother of John. It's the fact that people have, like, and not just people in the industry, but people in Chicago.
It's actually not fair to say, because they actually started the same time, but John just became more famous. I'm so familiar with the story. It's like Jim wasn't like 5 years later after John died, he's like, you know what? I'd like to have this career in comedy. And they're like, your name is Belushi. Let's give you a role. That's not how it worked for him. Jim, actually had a child before John actually was on Saturday Night Live. So Jim was trying his hardest at that same period. He just didn't make it at that same time.
Not just that, though, but from people that I've read that have had interaction with him, say that he's just an ass.
Well, I'm sure. I mean,
he throws John's name around as like, you know who my brother is? And I'm like, that made me not like him.
Well, you know what? On the next At the Mini Show, we'll talk about how, actors versus their maybe outside personas. Because, I mean, that's fair, but I'm just going by his role. That was strictly it. You haven't even really met him, and you just hear it secondhand stories too, is something completely different.
Well, I mean, I haven't met Hulk Hogan, and I can already tell you I don't like him.
Well, again, there's a lot of things that I'm not going to say here on the thing and get into Jim's private life. I think that's not what today's, that's technically it, but
he was the best guy around.